I'm not even going to hide what a fangirl I am of this next guest on the KJ Today Show. Katie Sackhoff is here.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, listen, Katie. I sometimes have people on my show and I'm like, be a professional, keep it together, be cool. But I mean, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, and everything you are doing, putting so much positivity into the world with your podcast, The Sackhoff Show. I am such a fangirl. Thank you for being here today.
Aw. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I try to lead with joy.
Yes. So let me do, my little bit here. This is the KJ Today Show. We bring the positive vibes of pop culture, people to know, and pets. And today, Katie Sackhoff is here, and she is doing the same thing. How does it feel for you at this point with so many episodes out and the response being overwhelmingly just so positive and loving that you are an amazing podcaster?
Oh, thank you. I think that this sort of was born out of my desire to have authentic conversations with my friends again. I had this moment where, Trisha Helfer is one of my best friends. I've known her for 25 years. And I had this moment where I thought I was actually participating in a moment of her life because I'd seen it on social media. And I had a memory as if I was there and was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. I need to talk to my friends more. Like, this is crazy. And that sort of is where the podcast came from. It was a bit of that and a bit of the YouTube channel started like 5 years before. I had so much fun doing it, but life got too busy. And that's where the Sackhoff Show sort of came from.
And new episodes every Tuesday. That is not that's not an easy feat. As someone who does this, you are you're making it happen. Are there challenges that came along with podcasting that certainly would be different from the other work that you've done in acting?
Yeah, for sure. Oh God, for sure. There's so many. I think the biggest one is that I don't think people realize how much money it actually takes to create a podcast. I think that that was the biggest shock for me, is that, you hear about all these podcasts making so much money and they blah, blah, blah. That takes time and it takes consistency. And that was something that I had to be very committed to. And I also think, it's really hard to lock people down. Like, even my own friends, I'm like, give me an hour. It's not that hard.
Oh, you're speaking to my soul, Katie. People who think like, oh, you just, you order a microphone on Amazon and you just start doing a podcast, right? That's all you do.
I know. Of course, that's all you do. And you know what? You're going to have millions of listeners. Yeah, that takes,
many.
oh my Lord.
Well, listen, I've got some people listening. I always like to go to the fans because they come up with such interesting questions. And this show is really about, keeping people positive. So the first question, and I loved that Stacia brought this up. She said, I've got the Star Wars question. You need to ask Katie because it drives me crazy watching the show. Is it Bo-Katan or Bo-Katan?
It's funny. Drives me nuts too. What a great question. It's a Bo-Katan. People try to class her up. It is the difference. You know what this is the perfect example of? Brianna's and Brianna's.
Mm-hmm.
And I have got friends who are Brianna and friends who are Brianna, and it's spelled the same way. And it drives me crazy because I get so screwed up, and I don't want to screw up their name. It's their name for heaven's sake.
Right.
So, but I think that, you can't classy her up. It's Bo-Katan, like she may be royalty, but she's identifiable royalty.
How has it been, for you? I mean, obviously, with Battlestar Galactica, you had the experience of this, major sci-fi show with a very passionate fan base. How has it been for you? Did that prepare you for the Star Wars universe, or was it a different experience?
I think it prepared me a little bit. Sci-fi audiences are incredibly loyal, and they've been very good to me over the years. The passion of the Star Wars audience, the fandom, if you will, was not something I was prepared for. And, at the end of the day, and I always say this, you're never going to win everyone. You have to take the good with the bad. And now I have been luckier than some. We all know when the negativity of the fandom takes hold because it's in the news. We read about it. And that is unfortunate. I personally, have I had negativity? Of course I have. And it is louder. It's always, the negativity is seemingly always louder, but it's not the majority. So you have to focus on the positivity, and you have to focus on the people that appreciate what you're doing, because there's always going to be someone somewhere that wants to tell you how much they hate you. And I just don't have time for that shit. Excuse my language.
No, use whatever language you want. We're good here. This is a safe space for language. Next question, it comes from Kara, and she reminded me, I saw this too. So I'm also the kitty correspondent for Pet Pals TV, and a huge advocate for animals. And she was like, remember, she did that video with Trisha where you were talking about the importance of adoption. So can you talk a little bit about your passion for pets, and maybe that moment that made you go, I need to use my platform to make people understand how important this is?
I mean, it's super important. I've been an animal lover my entire life. From the moment my mom let me bring home my first stray cat, or rather the stray cat found us and my mom let us keep it. So I've always had animals as far as I can remember, as long as I can remember. And I think that what I have seen in shelters is that our shelter system is overburdened. There are so many animals that need homes, and so many animals are being euthanized because we don't have enough homes, because people want cute, shiny, young, whatever they want. And I get that. I had a pug. I get it. I understand when there's a breed out there that you want, that you don't think you can find. I promise you can find it in a shelter. If you look long enough, and it doesn't even have to be that long, where the internet has connected everyone on such a simplistic level, you could find the animal that you want in probably a couple weeks, and it would be a rescue. I promise you. And it is incredibly important to I don't know. I think it's important. I think that kindness is important. And I'm not even talking about, we don't even need to get into, people who eat meat and people who don't eat meat. That's not what this is about. We don't even need to focus on that. Let's not talk about what divides us. Let's talk about what brings us together, which is that if there's an animal in a shelter in need, we need to find it a home.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you are doing. Seriously, it's such a joy to, I found your podcast because I follow you on Instagram, and I was immediately like, we need this in our world. We need you in our world and in our lives doing what you're doing. So thank you so much for being here with us. Anything you want us to know about new episodes coming out with the Sackhoff Show before we let you go?
Oh my God, we've got some good ones. Like you said, every Tuesday, this week's guest is my friend Jay Ellis. He's got a book out right now that's awesome. Next week's guest is Edward James Olmos. We've got some really, really good ones in the can. And the good thing about podcasts is you can go back and you can listen to all of them. So you've got a lot of episodes. If you don't know about the Sackhoff Show, there's a lot of episodes to catch up on. And enjoy the ride. It's so fun.
Thanks for joining me for another celebrity interview. KJ Today, where you'll find the positive vibes of pop culture, people to know, and pets. If you like this interview, please make sure you give it a like, rate, review, and subscribe. And join us on YouTube the first Wednesday of every month for the full KJ Today Show, where we play trivia, bring you more celebrity guests, and even a pet of the week to keep you feeling the positive vibes.